Good morning. All right, it is a great honor for me to be here. My name is Sam Matheny, and I am the Executive Vice President and Chief Technology Officer for the National Association of Broadcasters. We are delighted that you are here with us at the NAB show, and today I have the great honor of introducing Daniel Alegre, President of Google, where he is responsible for global partnerships. Now, Daniel spent about 12 years in a variety of different roles at Google, but he has always been focused on building relationships that drive engagement and revenue. But I'm especially excited to introduce Daniel because he is also a broadcaster. His family is in the business, and he got his early start running a radio station down in Mexico. And so it's a special privilege to be able to introduce both a broadcaster and someone as accomplished as he is at Google. And the additional reason that I'm excited is because Google is a member of Pilot. And Pilot is the NAB's innovation initiative, where we are focused on digital developments and the important role for broadcasting. So Daniel is super smart. He has an amazing background and an exceptional vision for the future. And I am delighted to introduce Daniel Alegre to come and talk about transforming TV. Daniel?
Thanks, Sam. I would love to invite you back here and have you speak more about me. That was great. That was a great introduction. It's all about me. No. And I'm also really proud of our Pilot partnership that we have with the NAB. Thank you for coming this morning. I hope you've been having a really good conference. So I'm going to start with a provocative term, which is that TV is dead. Well, so proclaim articles in Forbes, The Guardian, Digiday, Politico. You've probably seen it over and over again, and the list goes on and on and on. But if you search, and hopefully you're searching on Google, the words TV is dead, you'll find 338 million results. Now, it's an incredibly popular epitaph at the conferences I attend. In fact, it's been uttered so many times, it's amazing that anyone still considers it a novel term. Well, despite what you thought, I'm not going to be person 338 million and one. TV really hasn't died. It's just completely changed, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. The TV that you and I grew up with was a box in our parents' living room. I'm assuming many of you are my age. Maybe some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. It was a place we all gathered for must-see TV, broadcast over the airwaves at 8 p.m., where primetime shows regularly brought a third of the viewing public to the living rooms. And if you missed a show, it was gone forever. I don't expect I have to tell anyone in this room that times have changed. We all know that. Ratings in the 30s are about as common as the rotary dial TVs on which they aired. Viewing really is dictated now by our social calendars, not by anyone else. The term broadcast doesn't even really apply anymore, as most viewership has gone from a group activity to a solo performance. Even the tube itself has changed, and not only because it's no longer a tube. My Sony at home has Android built in. I can play games, check the news, stream video, watch YouTube. Now, I guess the question is that a TV or is that a computer? The biggest change is really the elimination of barriers to viewing. It's never been easier to watch what we want, when we want, where we want. And so amidst all the doom and gloom of TV dying, a newer, better version of TV is rising from the ashes. And I am so excited about that. The content you all produce is better than ever. And there's so much more of it. In fact, there were twice as many scripted dramas in 2015 as there were in 2009. Viewership of video is greater than ever as well. Time spent with TV and online video in the US has grown from 165 hours per month in 2012 to 177 hours per month in 2015. TV is not dead. Sure, by TV by the old definition, it's down. But the new TV, the one that blurs the lines between online and off, is alive and well. It isn't dead. TV truly is being reborn. And so today I want to talk about that rebirth. It's a great topic, the rebirth of TV. More specifically, I want to talk about the implications for everyone in this room. What it means for distribution, discovery, monetization, and creation. First, let's talk about distribution. Now, we know that viewership is shifting. In the past few years, we've all seen time spent watching linear TV fall. It's no secret. While at the same time, though, online viewership has grown by more than 50% year on year. At that rate, Cisco estimates that 80% of internet traffic will be video by 2018. The biggest driver of that growth, we get it, it's mobile. I remember a not too distant past when the size of your TV screen was for many a point of pride and competition. We saw the race to 50 inches, then 60 inches, then 70 inches. And I remember just about 5 years ago, Panasonic here in Las Vegas announced at CES that they just threw down the gauntlet and they created a 103-inch TV that cost over $100,000 and instantly became the idol to which all people kneeled. Now contrast that with the world today. I've seen teenagers watch a feature film on a 4-inch mobile phone screen, sitting on a couch just feet away from the gorgeous LED TV that lies dormant. That happened to me just at a birthday party just last weekend. Let's take a look. Now, for some of you look at this video and you say, gosh, those things do seem somewhat ridiculous, but I'm sure you've encountered people who've done similar things to that. And you look at your colleagues at work who are intently working, and if you peek over, they're probably watching video. I'm not sure what that's doing to productivity at your workplace. Look, I've seen people watch the exact same thing on a train, in a car, in an elevator, waiting at the doctor, and pretty much every other place you can think of at any moment throughout the day. With 1.5 million new Android devices activated every day last year, think about it. There are 45 million new screens watching TV and video added every month around the world. It's an incredible number. And it's not surprising that more than 50% of viewership on YouTube now happens on the mobile phone. And the number of hours spent watching videos on mobile is up 100% year on year. Now, incidentally, the time people spent watching YouTube on living room screens more than doubled in 2015. So all this viewership places a huge demand on connectivity. People expect online video to play the same way as offline. We've seen that the tenths of a second delay due to buffering have a measurable impact on the viewer abandonment. That's something we all want to avoid. And we've seen people do just about anything to make sure that they have a fast connection. Now, my favorite example, and this comes from our announcement of Google Fiber, our 1 gigabit broadband network a number of years ago. Now, in order to pick the first city to receive fiber, we invited communities to submit an application explaining why we should come to their town. More than 1,100 towns applied. and more than 200,000 people submitted letters asking that their town be selected. Why is that? They want connectivity. Today, Google Fiber is live in 4 metros and has construction underway in 7 metros. And it's exploring expansion in 11 more. Now, we even recently announced that we're exploring bringing fiber to Los Angeles and to Chicago, the second and third largest TV markets in the US. By providing high-speed broadband, the barriers to distribution truly are breaking down. Now, I remember when I was a kid, just a few years ago, there were a few folks in my neighborhood that had satellite dishes. And I don't mean those little 12-inch rooftop dishes that we see today from DirecTV or Dish Network. I mean satellite dishes. You know, these things look like they could land the Mars rover. The thing that made these so cool wasn't just that they got hundreds of channels, is that they got channels from all over the world. You could watch FC Barcelona play Real Madrid broadcast from Spain. Now, nowadays, to a teenager as me, sorry, it was just a marvel. It was too wondrous to comprehend. Well, fast forward today. People watch global content every day without thinking twice about it. 80% of YouTube's views come from outside the US, transmitted across more than 70 countries. So just a quick show of hands, just to show how hip and your age. How many of you know who Felix Kullgeberg is? Raise your hands if you know. 1? My goodness. 2, 3. Well, for those of you not raising your hand, I'll give you a little clue. A Variety survey recently named him the second most influential celebrity among US teens, putting him well ahead of folks like Taylor Swift and Bruno Mars. I assume you've heard those 2 names. Well, Felix is really better known as PewDiePie. He is the poster child of the power of global content distribution. He has more than 40 million subscribers to his YouTube channel, and his videos have been viewed nearly 12 billion times. All of this from a 26-year-old Swedish guy working out of a flat in London. Now imagine what you all could do with your resources and amazing talent on a global stage. Truly, there is a massive worldwide audience waiting for you. But look, it's not just about being global. If you're a local broadcaster, traditionally, you've been constrained by the number of hours in a day that you could program over the air. But that constraint no longer exists. The democracy of distribution means that there is no limit to the amount of engaging, high-quality content you can deliver to your audience, whether it's online-only interviews, series hosted by your lead news anchor, or weather forecasts on your website ahead of a big storm. These changes in distribution technology offer local broadcasters new and more engaging ways to connect with their viewers. Because this new era of distribution affords an unparalleled opportunity for broadcasters of all sizes and types to be always on. It also creates something of an unparalleled problem, which brings me to discovery. All that content, millions of apps, movies, and TV shows in the Play Store, and more than 400 hours of content uploaded every minute to YouTube, over 400 new scripted TV shows every year. That creates an incredible discovery challenge. And it's not just an online challenge. I remember in 1992, Bruce Springsteen released the song 57 Channels and Nothing On. Now, 25 years later, it seems this problem has only really gotten worse. 50% of linear consumers in the US say they can't find anything to watch on a daily basis. And that number grows to 62% for 25 to 34-year-olds. We see this every day as millions of people turn to Google to help them find what to watch. Now, our team at Google is actively working not only to help viewers find the best show, but more specifically, to help viewers find the best show for me, for them. Today's Today, a viewer's journey to find content begins on the first screen, this one, their phone. We see this increasing every day in search. Searches for TV shows and films on mobile have grown over 55% in just the last year. It's why we continue to invest in a richer TV search experience for major live TV moments. For instance, we recently launched a new experience on mobile search for the Oscars, creating a destination where users could find information about the show on ABC with fresh content from across the web in real time, including where they can tune in, who was nominated, and obviously more importantly, who had won. Similarly, we've enabled rich discovery and second screen voting experiences for other major live TV moments, like American Idol, America's Got Talent, and sporting events like the NBA All-Star Game. But viewers are also looking for ongoing programming, which was why last year we launched Video Actions in Search. With Video Actions, we made it easier for people to discover your shows and movies with a single tap to watch that content on your mobile apps or sites. And honestly, we're just scratching the surface here. Now, I'm excited to share that coming soon, Google Search will have live TV listings. So now when you're looking for Big Bang Theory, we'll show you not just the app where you can find the latest episode, but also which channel you can turn your TV to later in the evening or week to catch it. Now, while Big Bang Theory is great, for me, the TV is usually about sports programming. You know, as a basketball fan, keeping up with my team, particularly when they're chasing history, is really important to me. Are there any Warriors fans out there? Okay, that's good. Any more? No? All right. Well, we're building a new way for TV companies to push real-time updates to viewers through Google Search. This means being able to pair search queries, like what's the score of the Warriors game, with real-time score updates, video clips, and in-app notifications, creating an even greater temptation to watch your content. Stay tuned for more on this. Now, what all this adds up to is a more personal viewing experience. Today, viewers don't just expect content personalized to them, they demand it. You know, it's a foregone conclusion. And that also includes ads, which brings us to monetization. After years of promises and false starts, TV commercials targeted at individual homes may finally be ready for prime time. Now, that's not me saying that, by the way. That's the first line of a Wall Street Journal article that ran 6 years ago. And even then, it was a sentiment that had been said many, many times before. Anyone in the TV industry knows that addressable TV is kind of like the rumored Friends reunion. We keep hearing it's coming, but no one seems quite sure when it's going to truly arrive. Today, we are taking big steps to bring new addressable advertising capabilities to TV broadcasters by announcing double-click dynamic ad insertion. This makes ads hyper-relevant for viewers across any screen that they watch. By creating individual streams for every viewer using server-side ad insertion, we're able to deliver a better, more personalized viewing experience that looks and feels as seamless as TV today. That's extraordinarily important. Now, we put this technology to test with two of the highest-rated events in the last year. The Rugby World Cup Finals on TF1, the leading network in France, and very highly watched, the Republican presidential debates on Fox News, as you know, the leading news network in the United States. Now, obviously, politics and sports are very personal topics, so it's only appropriate that TF1 and Fox News created a fully addressable viewing experience for the millions of users that tuned in using dynamic ad insertion. And not only does this work for both live and on-demand TV, but it works seamlessly across directly sold and programmatic. Now, I know that historically there's been an aversion to programmatic in these conferences, which is why we've been focused on making programmatic work for TV. Today, we're also announcing that double-click clients will be able to seamlessly enforce the level of control that has been firmly established in TV across all inventory, whether it was sold directly or indirectly. This means being able to honor the competitive separation, so two automotive ads don't appear in the same commercial break. And other rules like making sure that alcohol and children's cereal ads don't appear in the same commercial break, the kinds of rules that we're all used to in television. This has been a major blocker to enabling programmatic to work for TV. And now you no longer need to turn down attractive opportunities from advertisers interested in transacting programmatically because of compliance concerns. This is an incredible evolution and revolution. Now we're committed to building advertising solutions that are truly tailored for television. Now we've had the good fortune to work with some of the leading brands in TV like AMC in the United States, Global in South America, and MCN in Australia. And today I'm pleased to announce that two leading companies, Roku and Cablevision, are partnering with our DoubleClick advertising solution to monetize cross-screen TV and video content. And I'm also extraordinarily excited to have Kristen Dolan, the Chief Operating Officer of Cablevision, joining me on stage shortly to share her thoughts and experience. But first, let's talk about content and creation. It's no secret that virtual reality is one of the most exciting technologies for our industry today. You're seeing that in the conference room stalls. And I want to speak to what we're seeing and doing related to VR. But before I talk about the very latest in content, I want to talk about the very oldest. This that you see is an image of the Dead Sea Scrolls. These manuscripts are some of the oldest known to exist. They're actually 24 centuries old. And through a partnership with the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, anyone in the world with an internet connection can explore them at a level of detail never before possible. Now, it's a cool example of a broader effort to bring the world's out-of-print books online so that anyone can read them. Well, what do the Dead Sea Scrolls have to do with this talk? You know, I'm sharing this story because in the basements of office parks and high-rise towers scattered across the United States and everywhere around the world, there are volumes and volumes of archival films collecting dust. These are really your Dead Sea Scrolls. Think about it. These are your out-of-print books. In a linear TV world, these collections didn't really have much value because there was limited distribution and limited ways to get consumers to be able to access them. The majority of people didn't want to watch 1960s pop comedies or 1970s spy dramas. But online, you really don't need to appeal to the majority. That's what's incredible. You need to appeal to the active communities that love this stuff. I remember growing up in Mexico, loving watching the Planet of the Apes. But I didn't have access to that growing up thereafter. Now online, I can start watching them again. So while you think about creating new and amazing content, you should think about the opportunity to once again earn revenue on your content that's collecting dust. That's just engagement with consumers, passionate, with an incredible earning possibility for you. And this is where the cloud will play a major role in the future of anytime, everywhere TV, by enabling you to seamlessly make your vast content libraries available to everyone via the internet. The cloud will also transform the processes of creation, particularly with CGI and animation, by giving TV content creators greater, better, and cheaper access to computation than ever before. Recently, pioneering content studio Atomic Fiction utilized over 9 million core computing hours to deliver the visual effects of The Walk. And it's a Robert Zemeckis film that was a contender for the Oscar for the best visual effects. Let's watch.
I grew up just absolutely loving visual effects. When we started Atomic Fiction, one of the most challenging parts of doing visual effects is rendering. It takes an immense amount of computing horsepower. Using Google Cloud Platform, we have massive infrastructure off-site when we need it, and then nothing when we don't. It helped us put the resources on the artists and making sure that every penny that our clients spent made it up on the movie screen. There's no greater satisfaction than creating a visual effect that people just believe that there's somewhere else. That's what we do, is we create fiction. Hopefully it's just the most believable fiction that you can imagine.
And yesterday, we announced that Autodesk, the maker of industry-leading 3D animation and modeling software, is collaborating with Google on a new cloud-based rendering solution called Maya for Zinc Render. This allows artists to focus on creating incredible content using the tools they already know, while shifting even the largest rendering jobs to the cloud seamlessly. But digital is not just transforming animated films. It's transforming live action as well. If you're one of the New York Times 1.3 million subscribers, you might have received a Google Cardboard in the mail last year. The Times created a virtual reality documentary called The Displaced in partnership with the visionary director Chris Milk. And over the course of Displaced, you hear the stories of 3 child refugees while using cardboard to follow in their footsteps as though you are there. The technology really is awe-inspiring. And it also requires new cameras, which is why we partnered with GoPro to produce the first commercially available 3D 360 camera called the Odyssey. It requires a special viewer, which we made attainable for all with Google Cardboard. And it requires a place for content to live, which is why YouTube was the first to broadcast at scale in 360 and continues to innovate with things like 360 ads and the ability to watch any video in VR. Now, you heard from my colleague Neil Mohan earlier this week, where we announced that we are taking immersive 360-degree video even further. You'll now be able to live stream your content on YouTube in 360 degrees, the first time this technology has ever been made available at scale. We've all had that experience of wishing you could be at the Super Bowl or feel like you were in an episode of the Game of Thrones. With virtual reality, we're building the technology to give you a new, more immersive canvas to tell your stories and create content. So in conclusion, far from being dead, TV really is in the midst of a revival. And just like other media types, which have been reimagined for a digital age, like music, for instance, the arrival of this new TV was preceded by change and disruption. But TV's past was built on a rich history of creativity and innovation. And I'm incredibly optimistic that the future of TV will be strong and well. Now, our job at Google is to help make that future become the present. And we're excited to partner with all of you to help build it. Thank you very much.